Please leave a message after the tone.
I just wanted to talk to you guys about how songs can... I'm like tearing up. It's fucking crazy. Songs can somehow bring you back to a moment. And this one song, Shooting Stars by the Bag Riders or whatever, it brings me back to what I felt is the height of my life in Shanghai. I'll tell you about the height of my life in the past 5 years of Shanghai. I had felt like I finally got my job at Push Media. I was really in it, and I was sent on my first real trip. The trip was to go start off in Singapore. Jonathan Lim and I were shooting. He had this project for Holiday Inn, and we were just shooting in Singapore, these families, and I had just started to listen to this song, and it was funny because he told me that song reminds him of the height of his life when he was partying and living his best life in college and his party life. That's what it reminded him of. But this song was new to me. So I didn't know it at the time, but when I was listening to it, now this song reminds me of my favorite, my what I feel was my peak of Shanghai. And so to go on more about my peak, Jonathan and I were in Singapore. It was my first time doing a trip for work where I was getting paid to stay in a hotel. I was getting paid to travel, to shoot video, to do all this amazing stuff. And the trip just started out as I was supposed to go to Singapore with Jonathan. And then there was a maybe you're going to go to India after this to shoot with Alan. And this trip ended up being 2 weeks in Singapore, and then that was amazing. It was one version of a culture I've never seen before, so polished. Singapore was so different in terms of Asia. I've never seen a polished version of Asia like that. And then I get sent to go to India with Alan, who speaks enough English that we get by, but certainly his Chinese is way better than his English. And so we're doing the same project, but it's in India. And India is, I can't say this enough, the exact opposite of what Singapore would be. When I first went to China, you have this wow moment, you're shocked, you get culture shock. And I never thought I would experience that again, but when I went to India, I did. And it's just such a jarring moment to experience India. So what I'm getting at is this is the height. I have my job at Push. I'm finally, I feel like I'm in my career. I'm traveling. I'm shooting amazing content. On this India trip, I also learned my love of interviewing as well. I interviewed a guy his restaurant's super famous in Mumbai, and it was just supposed to be some B-roll interview where I get basics about oh, this is why families should come here. But I ended up just letting him tell his story because he was so excited. The history of this this restaurant was pretty wild. They were victims of a terrorist attack. They still have the bullet holes in the wall. That's a whole nother thing I could go into. But to get back to how music and how a favorite song can bring you back to the moment. Right now I'm just driving back from a delivery that I was doing for someone, and the song Shooting Stars came on, and it just sometimes if you're in the right move, it will totally move you and bring you back to a moment. And I'm in one of those moments right now. I don't know why, I just get so worked up. And also something interesting about these moments is it's such a happy feeling that I'm in right now, but it's also so sad because it's gone. I'm deciding to kind of end the Shanghai chapter of my life, due to coronavirus and all this stuff. I've been forced to stay in America. I've been on lockdown. So when you're looking back at these moments, it can be so happy. That was the height of my career, and I didn't know it yet. And that's what's so beautiful about it is that was the peak, or the beginning, actually. It's not the peak. That was the beginning of what was to come. This was in 2017, late 2017, or actually early, I can't remember. But it's the beginning of what was going to come, and that's what's so beautiful about it, is that, this is all happening, and now, in retrospect, I can see what's to come. A beautiful career experience at Push, where I ended up doing so many amazing projects and leading Push Fest with Skateboard Film Festival, which I'm so proud of, and working with so many cool people. And so that's what it is. It wasn't the peak of my career. I can remember now that it's the beginning. It's the absolute beginning of what was to come. And that's what makes it so happy and so sad at the same time, that, that's kind of ended. It's gone. Like that's not happening anymore. I'm moving out of Shanghai. I'm nervous for what the future will hold, but if we be rational, if we try and bring ourselves back to something, some type of base, it's good to remember, like, new moments like that will come. There will be future amazing moments and stuff to look forward to, but it is hard. So anyways, if you have a song that really moves you and brings you back to a moment of your life, whether it's poor or bad, maybe, let me know. Shoot me a message. I love to hear that kind of stuff. All right. Later, guys.
End of message.